Mike Sierra one can't handle the truth.
You're a cheat and a swindler. That's what you are. How can you do a thing like this?
I am authorized to assure you these rumors are based on hysteria and are absolutely false. I repeat, these rumors are absolutely false.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining me once again as I take another look into the relentless lies of Mike Zeroh. As some of you may have noticed, I haven't been going out of my way to make videos about Zeroh, as there didn't seem to be any point, given he is always using the same story threads of his own making, and applying them to whomever he feels he needs to make up stuff about. And regardless of what you say and proving that it's all reused content, there are thousands of people out there who literally believe every single word, even when presented with facts that clearly shows he uses old material, and contradicts himself almost at every turn. Every single story has someone who rubs everyone up the wrong way, be it Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, Brie Larson, Rachel Zegler, Leslie Headland, and more recently Joy Behar. What then happens is a storyline which goes as follows. Celebrity upsets someone and then is removed from multiple projects that were in the works, but none of which have ever been spoken about by any other sources. This person is then removed from all the projects that no one knows about, losing them money and costing Disney and or Lucasfilm hundreds of millions of dollars in lost revenue, based on analysts. As some form of retaliation, the star, director or writer then goes out of their way to seek legal action against those like Disney and Lucasfilm, at which point the story ends as there is never any legal action, and then Zeroh reapplies this to another celebrity, and repeats the whole process again. This happens almost every single day. There's the setup. Then the story starts to take shape. There are never any other names involved other than the ones that cause the most anger. There will never be a time frame, and if there is, it's generally set for some time in the future, so Zeroh can then run the story for a prolonged amount of time until it needs to be swept under the rug again. So bearing in mind what you just heard, let's go back around 8 months to the 23rd of September 2023, and listen to what I said in my own video about how numerous projects were cancelled by Disney, and how Zegler had been fired from those projects, which Zeroh has emphatically described as his own form of truth, which of course it isn't. To push my points home even further, please note that the sequel movies that revolve around Snow White have now been cancelled. This is all according to Zeroh. One minute they were going ahead with making these films and then they were stopped and Zegler was removed from them, but long before the films were brought to a crashing halt. The main reason for the movie's cancellation, Zegler's past behavior when talking about the Snow White movie, footage that we have all seen I'm sure. But for everything that's stopped by Zeroh, you need something to take its place. So how about an animated film that is supposed to be Shrek-like, and a spy movie, in which Zegler was supposed to do a voiceover in the first film, and be a spy girl in the second?
Now, one shocking turn of events is that after months of negotiations took place about the Snow White trilogy that was mapped out by Disney for the 2 sequels that were indeed cancelled, after they finally made a decision to fire actress Rachel Zegler from not just the 2 Snow White sequels to the live-action remake, but also for a voice-over role for an upcoming animated Disney movie that's currently in the works. It turns out that this is why the Snow White sequels were cancelled just recently, since they could not find a proper recast to take over the role of Snow White as Rachel Zegler, of course.
So Rachel Zegler was fired from some Disney movies 8 months ago. Please bear in mind that the word fired is only there for attention-grabbing purposes or clickbaiting as it's more commonly referred to. As with all of Zeroh's updates, every single thing that someone is involved in is stopped, as part of Bob Iger's cost containment plan. But ask yourself the question, why is Bob Iger stopping projects as part of cost cutting, when the projects shouldn't even be considered if money is an issue? Another thing is that these projects were stopped 8 months ago, at which point Zegler had a running battle with Disney because of being removed from those projects. The reason, as I stated in my earlier video, the way she spoke about the original Snow White movie from 1937, the main reason given by Zeroh. The last clip you heard was from May the 29th, 2024, and Zeroh is back yet again telling you she was fired because they couldn't find a replacement for the films that aren't real to begin with. They wouldn't need a replacement for those other films as they were supposed to be about Snow White during her childhood. The Evil Queen was also meant to have an origin film, as were the dwarfs, all according to Zeroh. so Zegler's involvement would have been non-existent. What you have here is what I have tried to get across for some time. Zeroh just reuses old content and just put a different name to the same fake scenario, where people are dropped from a fake made-up show and then the fake show is also canned. Jenna Ortega was used the same way by replacing Zegler for some films, and then Ortega refused to work with Disney because of their so-called agendas. Implement a fake story, fill it with fake story threads, run them for as long as possible, then leave them to be buried under the other videos that come out day after day, and when the dust settles, bring those stories back out for another airing, with different and unpopular celebrities. So with everything I have just told you in this video thus far, let's see if those rules apply now to Joy Behar, Zeroh's most recent inclusion for clickbait material.
Bob Iger and the Disney heads recently made a last-minute decision to fire TV show host Joy Behar from a major Disney project that is planned to be a new animated movie for 2026 that's in the works that will be announced later this year. Behar was recently fired from doing voiceover work for a major character of this film that was reportedly going to focus on a story about kings and queens during the medieval times. The style and format of this series was said to be inspired from Shrek and Alice in Wonderland combined in some ways by Disney, that was going to feature Behar as one of the main characters, one of which was going to be an untitled one where she played a queen in a new animated film that's a mixture of Alice in Wonderland and Shrek. As it turns out, she was supposed to be paid roughly $7 million for this project, where she was planned originally to be the main character of this new 2026 Disney movie that is already going through massive budgeting cuts, along with Whoopi Goldberg also getting removed from the project, as Bob Iger and the Disney heads are beginning to follow new cast hires that will be cheaper in the long run. In addition to this, Behar is already removed and fired from another animated film that's going to be very recognizable to you guys, where she was going to play a major role in Toy Story 5, which currently is in active development. This is another 2026 Disney animated film by Pixar, which is another Disney division that's been going through massive firings across the board for its employees and cast members. Now, Behar was reportedly going to be paid an estimated $4 to $5 million for her supporting character role in Toy Story 5 for that year. Her character design was best described to be a toy that resembled a stuffed animal that was best described to be a swan in nature. This character was quickly removed, however, after Joy Behar's firing as Bob Iger and backing off on some characters to reduce the amount of cast members attached to Toy Story 5, Behar is already taking next steps to push with legal action against the Walt Disney Company after her firing from these two projects and also missing out on millions of dollars.
Well, there you have it, a disgruntled celebrity who has lost millions of dollars after being promised to be in a movie that's been cancelled. Well, at least the character has. But that void has now been filled by another movie coming in a year or so's time, so Zeroh can run with the story for months now. Let's not also forget she is seeking legal action, and on a side note, did you notice that the film she was dropped from was Shrek-like, just like the film Zegler was going to be in 8 months ago? I guarantee there will be no court case, just like Zegler's and Brie Larson's, but what do you care? Other than you saw people get some form of comeuppance, and you'll wait for the next bout of BS that will make you look like a complete and utter idiot for believing it again. Zeroh got paid, and the only comments from his subscribers he cares about are the ones who like his dogs. Beyond that, he doesn't care what you think. That should tell you a lot about what he thinks about you and your input. Well, that's all I have for today, so until the next time, thank you for your support, take care, and I'll see you again soon.
So maybe come up from your mom's basement, okay? And get a real life, you nerd. Yeah, basic.